The game is about Jackal and his quest to destroy life as we know it. Everyone in the game is based on someone I know.
The cold steel kid, as I live and breathe. Which, son of a gun, I'm doing, aren't I?
If you get past this level, you'll still have your hands full with the others.
Oh yes, we're doing this. Welcome back to my Sisyphean review of the available 11 and 9/10 episode run of Vupien's baffling video game drama comedy, Deadly Games. We start with Partridge Family mom Shirley Jones, who you may unwillingly remember from Christmas Is Here Again, visiting a character actor who is very doomed.
Oh, just sit. It'll be ready in a second.
You really should take more care with your appearance, Mr. Shelton. But it's too late for that now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she just killed that guy. Dead. And he's not the last innocent person to get cacked by Gus's little snippy revenge game in the series, not by a long shot. Hell, he's not the only one to die this episode. And while counter gags are so 5 years ago, I'm petty enough and Gus is unlikable enough for me to keep track of the corpses piled up by his hubris.
People besides me laugh. I have to put a clamp on that.
I love this man.
But on the other hand, this situation with Jackal brought Lauren back into your life.
I would say that's ironic.
On some level. You're almost kind of glad, am I right? Don't get me right if I'm not right.
Oh, I wanted to bring this up in the first episode, but Peter never actually says this in the first episode, so this is technically the first appearance of Peter's nonsense catchphrase. He uses it constantly, and if it had been in the first episode, you'd have to take a shot every time you heard him say it. In fact, do that, from here on out. Gus and Peter are watching the exposition channel when news of the corpse sickle comes on, and they know who's responsible.
Shirley.
Real imaginative naming there, series writers. Gus goes to warn Lauren in the most asshole-ish way possible.
What do you think you're doing?
You knocked, Gus. This part is known as opening the door.
Is that what you do when someone knocks on your door? You open it? What if I were Jackal?
Which of course leads to...
Your medicine cabinet shelves are filthy, honey. You should really keep an eye on that. Is that a stain?
No, don't touch her! Ah!
What's the lunatic doing here?
He thought...
Oh yes, the neat freak ice villain, who he specifically calls a witch, is based directly on his former mother-in-law. You're not just petty, Gus, you're the mayor of Cliché Town. Turns out Mom is here to introduce Lauren to her new boyfriend Hank over breakfast. Lauren is less than thrilled about this prospect, so she brings along Gus to be a meat shield.
Come on, Gus, we can talk at breakfast.
You're inviting the lunatic?
Is that a problem?
Oh.
Pac-Man.
Nope, that's not a weight joke. That's actually the voice of Pac-Man, and I'll let cartoon Ricardo Montalban tell you what we're in for.
The best of Marty Ingalls.
What kind of sadistic creature are you?
You gotta love that laugh. That laugh is what does it.
It's actually the first time I've ever heard it.
Like medicine to me. Every time are you gonna eat that sausage?
Yup, that's comedian Marty Ingalls all right. So yeah, Hank's a slob and all, which runs counter to Shirley's neat freakness, but they seem happy. I will now suggest you consider what the sex must be like.
Hank and I'll keep busy.
Sure will. There's gotta be a motel around there somewhere.
You're welcome. Peter calls to let Gus know the police confiscated a whole bunch of explosives, which is what evil Shirley needs to complete her in-game plan to blow up a boat. Why a boat? I haven't the damnedest, other than the production crew could afford to shoot on a boat and really wanted to shoot an episode on a boat. Wow, 6 minutes in and they're still flinging credits at us. One ray of scenery-chewing sunshine later.
Oh, what a shame it is when love dies. Don't you agree, my dear?
Gus and Lauren skip out to try and stop the level boss.
You bought dirt?
Nobody buys dirt and dug it up. The bad guy in this level has a weakness for it. Like Killshot with the water.
Who is it this time, Gus? Some cleaning lady who threw out your stack of penthouses when you were 12?
If it makes you feel better to poke fun, that's fine.
I'm looking for the police evidence room.
This is the evidence room.
I'd like these things, please. Don't you ever get anyone in to clean, Sergeant?
A pound of plastique and a detonator? Is this supposed to be funny, lady? Because maybe you could share with a couple of detectives.
It's no big thing, really. I'm just...
Lucky for evil Shirley, there's only one policeman at the evidence lockup, so she can freeze him solid and just walk out with the confiscated explosives, right past this really oblivious cop. Gus and Lauren arrive on the scene, and Gus takes advantage of the lack of police at the police station to ready a dirt shotgun.
your manner? Next to be hitting men with glasses.
I love this man. Oh.
Mom?
Lloyd, go back!
Truth is, kid, I'm gonna miss her.
I guess I'm just sentimental that way.
Of course, she's not dead. We've got some convenient wiggle room thanks to main character status, which takes the form of an up-close freezing being instantly lethal, but nice blast having a 5-minute grace period before game over. Which I'm not sure how that would work in a video game. We'll just add that to the pile of the ways that Gus's game makes no sense. At any rate, this means Gus has just enough time to get Lauren to a tanning salon, give us some gratuitous almost nudity because this is the UPN, and eventually save her life. Real-life Cole doesn't work that way, raising even more questions beyond the usual, what am I doing with my life?
I'm so sorry, Lauren. If I could, I would change places with you in a second.
So, this is where the girl's mother lives.
I might just move into this neighborhood. Bulldoze all these trees. Pull up a few smokestacks.
Jackal and Evil Shirley get Phase 2 going, which is to twist the knife on Gus and Lauren more by arranging things so normal Shirley and Hank are on the boat they intend to blow up. Evil Shirley freezes the pipes to give them an excuse to not be home, Jackal forges a contest prize for the cruise, and holy snoke does Jackal have amazing handwriting! Okay, legit praise time. That's a nice little touch. Of course a video game character would have nigh-perfect typeface handwriting. Well done, show! Lauren is thawed out, without anyone at the tanning salon, calling the police about the madman. Oh wait, a third of the police force is now dead! Silly me! Then it's back to the apartment for more of Gus's petulant dickery while they try and figure out exactly where the villains would strike.
Well, she's sort of got your mother's face, but she's not your mother.
Shirley?
A name and a face.
You always complained how cold my mother was, so you made her the ice lady. Is that it? That's why the snow bullets?
They're called ice bolts. And fine, that's your mother up there. But you admit she deserves to be.
No. Gus, just no.
And I'm sorry if art imitates life.
My mother never used explosives.
Did you beat any of these levels, my friend?
I tried to make them challenging. If I made them easy to beat, we wouldn't be having this much fun playing them.
Gus, absolutely no one would ever find this game fun. Your setting is lame, your characters outside of Jackal are wildly uninspired, the gameplay is vague at best, and your puzzles are so f***ing obtuse that they make King's Quest V look like Candy Crush.
It's how you destroy Evil Shirley. A house has to drop on her. You know, because she's a witch.
I get the connection.
Or they're just so damn stupid like that.
How can you be so sure it's not Caljack Cruises?
What is this with you and Caljack? It's not Caljack.
Caljack is an anagram for Jackal. How come it can't be Caljack?
Because I don't find anagrams particularly clever.
Oh yeah. Anagrams are far less clever than the Voltron made of cliches, which is an ice witch mother-in-law whose ultimate weakness is lifted from one of the most famous movies in history. They hadn't invented ironic hipster video games in 1995, so either he's a visionary or he's a hack.
Fine, Gus. Just sit there and take shots at what I think is clever.
I wasn't taking shots. Was I taking shots?
No, he was not taking shots.
Good. Because I'm not the immature neurotic who took every halfway negative experience I ever had and turned it into snow bolt-throwing Godzilla movies.
Ice bolt-throwing Godzilla movies. Tell her it's not that hard to remember.
Go ahead. I dare you.
And you're friends with Gus. Why, exactly?
This is it. S.S. Maxwell. Maxwell? As in Maxwell House Coffee. Margaret Hamilton. Don't you remember those old TV commercials she did for Maxwell House?
Who's Margaret Hamilton?
Whose? Weren't you ever a kid? Margaret Hamilton played the witch in Wizard of Oz. Evil Shirley is a witch.
I stand corrected. The puzzles make King's Quest V look like Pong. Gus and Laura rush to the boat, which is already leaving, but thankfully the editor is on their side and helps them leap on board.
They made it.
Damn kid, this doesn't know when to stay at home and let a ship explode. Put a chill in this, will you, Shirley?
Oh, you poisonous cinnamon roll. Too awesome for this world. Too sardonic.
Great to meet you both, and I'll see you back up on deck in just a couple of minutes.
I wouldn't jump to any conclusions.
Won't people notice that the cruise director is missing?
Nope.
Gus and Lauren run into Shirley and Hank, and as we're about 2/3 in, it's time for some character-building conversation.
I'm having the time of my life.
Mom, you need to get off this ship.
Is that why you're here? To try to break up Hank and me?
No, of course not. Well, I mean, even if it were, you weren't exactly Gus's biggest fan when we got married.
You are trying to break us up.
Oh, Lauren, you pulled a Gus. Never pull a Gus. And here's why.
I don't stand a chance, kid.
But just in case you're wrong, don't we owe it to ourselves to share at least one last passionate moment?
You use our possible deaths to get me in the sack? You want one last passionate moment, Gus? I'll wait outside till you're through.
Okay, hands up. Who feels unclean? All of you? Good. Mind you, Gus then turns around and does something decent.
What?
Gus, I want to ask you a question. You gotta be straight with me, okay? Lauren, what does she really think about me? My gut feel is that it's not very good.
So what if it isn't? You're not dating Lauren, you're dating her mother.
Not like I'm the catch of the century, you know. I just know tonight's gonna be very special. I'm gonna yell at her. I'm gonna ask the question.
She thinks you're terrific.
Seriously, that was nice. And another nice thing, Hank, in general. I mean it. This is a character type that's incredibly easy to turn into a big dumb jerk who's ultimately wrong for Shirley, but no, they resist that cliche and make him into a genuinely affable, good-natured guy who just happens to be a bit of a slob, recognizes his faults, but wants to do good by the woman he loves. And it turns out she loves him despite those habits that would normally get on her nerves. Bravo! And speaking of Shirley...
Lauren, what you said before about Gus, it was true. Everything you said. I handled your marriage, in fact, your whole relationship with Gus, very badly. We'd become so close after your end. I was so afraid of being alone. Instead of advising you to work your problems through, I encouraged the breakup.
On the one hand, that's a heartfelt admission, and much like with Hank, a nice bit of humanizing of what could have been a really cliched character. On the other hand, we're still talking about Gus Lloyd, and Gus is, well, Gus.
I'm just asking you to give Hank a chance, like I should have given Gus.
Well, that's fair. The divorce would have happened either way, of course, but at least the travel agency dude, the cops, and that cruise ship director wouldn't be impersonating a box of Vandecamps. Gus and Lauren search for the bomb, but they're not alone. The bomb is found, but our heroes get arrested for planting it, and evil Shirley is still there. Time for final act complications.
They said they've only got 8 ounces. You said it was a pound.
The kitchen.
What?
The kitchen can also be the boiler room.
Wait, I know what's going on. Gus made the game this stupidly obtuse in order to make money by selling the official strategy guide. Also, anagrams aren't clever, but puns are fair game?
Radio someone, have them check the kitchen.
That's real interesting. Here's a guy who says he had nothing to do with it, but you sure do know a lot about it.
You want a confession? Fine, I confess. I planted the bomb.
You're lucky I really hate filling out paperwork, jerk. Also, Jim would never let me hear the end of it if I didn't mention that the cop is probably played by character actor Glenn Morshower, who was credited at the beginning of the episode. He's been in about a billion things, including big-name series like 24 and Supergirl, but Jim knows him mostly for his roles in the Transformer movies and being a total weirdo, but amusingly so, at the Transformers conventions.
Hey! How you doing? A car just flew off the side of that big bridge out there. It is ugly. There are people... Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
I'm calling it. This show has the most incompetent police force ever, and I'm including Fred, Barney, and the Shmoo in that assessment.
What are you looking for? Motorhome. What about it? It's a house.
And the gods of plot convenience smile upon Gus yet again. I'd use the term Deus Ex Machina, but that's literally this series' premise. And as a bonus, Lauren can hotwire a vehicle because reporters learn the complete skill set of anyone they do a story on. No, I'm only doing the Mortal Kombat joke once. The day is saved. Gus has escaped all consequences for his actions because the cops have the attention span of a concussed border collie, and Hank pops the question.
Are you just happy to dance with me, or is that a pickle in your pocket?
Not exactly a pickle. But Is it good?
I bet you never thought that one day you'd see Pac-Man and Mrs. Partridge making out, and now you can never unsee it. You're welcome. Jackal stops by for one last bit of glorious bastardry.
You're gonna learn the hard way not to mess with us.
Do you know what your problem is, my dear? Aside from a poor selection of friends, you let emotion cloud reality.
And an exit that is stunningly stupid, but damn if he doesn't make it work through sheer force of panache. So, one mean mother. Despite doing a legit decent job with two characters who could have easily been as awful and petty as one of Gus's little revenge fantasy stand-ins, trust me, this is about the worst this show has to offer, even taking into account this show's own low bar. Despite the strengths in Hank and Shirley's portrayal, Gus doesn't really gain any insights or character growth from having the object of his spite being more human than he'd envisioned her. Hell, by the end of the episode, Shirley still thinks he's an ass and wants nothing to do with him. But Lauren gets some more doubts about the divorce, even though Gus spends most of the episode reinforcing his general odiousness. The series is trying to draw an obvious comparison between Gus and Hank, and if Gus had been more like Hank, the whole premise of the show would be stronger. Obnoxious and slobbish is an easier pit to crawl out of than resentful and petty, but it's not over for Gus, or for us. Next episode, LeVar Burton hosts the Reading Pain Bow.
Hey Pipples, if you liked our nonsense, why not give us a like, or a subscribe, or leave a comment down there somewhere?
You can also do us a big solid by joining our Patreon, where you'll get to join us for live streams, get early access to the newest videos, and other such things.
Geek Vision.